The world of Pokemon is a world full of fantastical creatures, a dog that can breathe fire, a rat that can conjure thunderbolts, all of them monsters capable of mystical and terrifying feats. However, for as common as an electric rat may be in the world, there are Pokemon that are considered even more mysterious, even more legendary. In the first generation of Pokemon, there are 5 legendary Pokemon. There's Mew, the common ancestor to all Pokemon, the potential link for the origin of life itself. There's its clone Mewtwo, a being manifested from the power of man itself, wielded to become the ultimate life form. Then there are the birds of legend. Articuno, the ice and flying Pokemon, whose chilling might leaves it isolated on only the most remote and frigid caves in the Seafoam Islands. Zapdos, the electric flying Pokemon, whose lust for electricity drives it to the source of Kanto's power, the Power Plant. And then there's Moltres. Moltres is a fire-flying type Pokemon introduced in the first generation of Pokemon. Besides sharing its typing with one of the most popular Pokemon in the franchise, let alone in its generation, its notable aspects include the fact it's a freaking legendary Pokemon, desired for its great power and scarcity. Generation 1 legendary Pokemon are special in the fact that they are all optional encounters, mythical beings that are only rewarded for going through hidden, long dungeons. All but except for Moltres. Moltres in Generation 1 is found in Victory Road of all places, which I always found to be very weird. Zapdos, the electric bird, is discovered in the Kanto Power Plant, a sanctuary for all the electric types in the region. After facing a gauntlet of powerful and dangerous electric type Pokemon, you're rewarded with discovering the Master of Lightning. Articuno, the ice bird, is found in the Seafoam Islands, a frigid cave isolated from all trainer paths. Filled with twists and turns, a brutal maze stands between you and the frozen fowl. However, Moltres is kind of just vibing in a cave, full of Pokemon that are 4 times strong against it. It's not like Victory Road has any mentions of being volcanic or hot in any way. It appears to be just a cave full of trainers. I also find it odd that nobody in the dungeon make any note of there being a legendary Phoenix Pokemon just hanging around. This is supposed to be a dungeon full of the strongest trainers in the region, yet here I am stumbling in with my Master Ball like it's nothing. It always felt to me that Moltres was just dropped into Victory Road as an afterthought. My suspicions get added merit to them in the remakes of Red and Blue, Fire Red and Leaf Green. Moltres gets a new dungeon added, Mount Ember. Here, Moltres rests upon a fiery volcano suitable for a fiery bird like itself. It feels like Moltres finally gains a home comparable to its bird brethren. However, all of this progress goes away in every subsequent game. In the subsequent games, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, Moltres is just reassigned back to its original resting place in the basement of Victory Road. Notably, in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, Moltres can be found in Mount Silver, another location, underground, in a cave. Thinking about this made me curious, so I began to do some research. However, in doing so, I came up with nothing. Nothing in the Pokédex or in-game gave any context on its unusual habitat, which just led to more turmoil regarding its identity. It's just very confusing to me how a bird known for migrating to various regions like Kalos and Sinnoh is somehow just found underground, when a place like Mount Ember makes much more sense, given how many of its Pokédex entries state how it dips its body in the molten magma of a volcano to burn and heal itself. Then another theory struck me. In most of its appearances, Moltres is found in locations with strong trainers. It is found in Victory Road, a place full of skilled trainers, all with 8 gym badges, and it can be found in Mount Silver, the final location of only the most powerful trainer, Red. This made me wonder if Moltres was a Pokemon that maybe desires battles from trainers? However, nothing really backs up this idea. The Pokédex, nor any trainer text in-game, give reference to this potential. The closest thing that maybe could reference that is how it bathes in lava to heal, but I think that's flimsy at best. Perhaps I'm looking at this Pokemon incorrectly. While its in-game incarnation may not have many obvious tells about its identity, perhaps its design can divulge more information about its identity to us. Moltres appears to take quite a bit of inspiration from the Suzaku, a bird of Asian folklore who represents fire, south, and summer. The first one is quite obvious, as they are both fire birds. And the second representation is depicted in Pokemon Crystal, as the Pokédex entry states that it is said to migrate from the south along with the spring. However, this comparison falls apart when comparing its role in representing summer. While Moltres does have a heat motif, bearing similarities with the heat of summer, it is Zapdos which gets Pokédex entries alluding to its summer weather abilities. They say lightning caused by the flapping of its wings causes summer storms. Another more obvious source of inspiration for Moltres is the phoenix. The phoenix represents new life, as it rebirths itself from the ashes of its former self. Moltres alludes to this inspiration from its Ruby and Sapphire Pokédex entry. Moltres is a legendary bird Pokemon that has the ability to control fire. If this Pokemon is injured, it is said to dip its body in the molten magma of a volcano to burn and heal itself. Seeing their admittedly interesting origins made me want more, but it brought me disappointment when coming to the realization that the concepts really don't go anywhere in execution. Moltres is not some battle-hardened avian, but instead appears to be a wandering vagrant, never with a place to truly call home. It may be the bringer of the spring season, but it's never shown in any meaningful way. For a Pokemon with so many angles of inspiration, how is it so boring in execution? Even with its heavily layered origins and inspiration, a lot of these ideas fall flat in the Pokemon world, as the concept of flying beings bringing about the seasons was revisited in Generation 5 in what I believe to be a much more direct and well-structured manner. Now, I bet a lot of you might be asking, what about Galarian Moltres? And to that, I say, the Pokédex implies that even though they share a name, Moltres and Galarian Moltres are two completely different species, similar to how red pandas aren't actually pandas, unfortunately. The sinister aura that blazes like molten fire around this Pokemon is what inspired the name Moltres. Design-wise, Galarian Moltres appears to be the evil counterpart to its Cantonian sibling? Half-brother? I don't know. While Moltres' flames represent new life and the coming of spring, Galarian Moltres interprets its fire in a negative connotation, showing how fire can be a force of destruction and malevolence, with its sinister aura consuming the spirit of any creature it hits. Even though this is a very interesting reinterpretation of the Cantonian legendary, it takes nothing from the predecessor's habitat or even inspiration, instead choosing to remix the concept of fire itself. Moltres has the potential for such great environmental storytelling, but with nothing to back it up, it becomes designated to just regular Firebird. This is honestly a shame, as many Pokemon from Generation 1 especially get such love given to them. But Moltres? It always feels like the odd one out, a Pokemon with very little identity. Given how Game Freak is honestly amazing at world building, especially with legendary Pokemon, it feels just a little disappointing to see a classic legendary bird get shafted over the years. Anyways, my name is B, and if you enjoyed this, please subscribe, and I'll catch you later.